This podcast is brought to you by the Texas Hill Country River region in Uvalde County. What's super unique about this area is that the Frio, Nueces, and Sabinal rivers are all located in the same county. It's like the hill country that you know and love, just more rural, so you're surrounded with wildlife, and life just kind of slows down out here, so you can really enjoy the simple pleasures like camping, fishing, and just enjoying the company of the people that you love.
For more information, go to visituvaldecounty.com. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the In Between Podcast. I'm Jake.
And I'm Leah.
And today we have a guest with us.
Yes, so we have
from Uvalde.
From all the way from Uvalde, just down the road from us, Yessenia Bailey, and she is the beauty and the brains behind Yessenia Bailey Photography. We got to work with her a couple weeks ago. We did a big photography extravaganza. We already lost Luna. So we did a big photo shoot. We had lots of girls modeling. We had brands. We had photographers. It was a big production.
It was so much fun.
And that's how we met you. And
Yes.
I'm so excited that you're here. I'm so glad that we got to meet you through that. I think you have such an interesting story, and you're also a local photographer out here in the area. And so I'm so happy that you're here.
Thank you
and we get
for
to have
having
this
me.
conversation.
I know, I'm excited.
So let's jump into it. So Uvalde girl goes to LA. Let's talk about
Small
that.
town girl with big dreams.
Yeah. So how did that happen?
Well, I wanted to move to LA after high school, and it was a dream of mine. So I was like, well, let's make it happen. But unfortunately, it didn't happen until a few years after that. And I moved out there with the best friend in hopes of doing makeup and hair because that's where I started. I should have did photography out there because it probably would have took off. But I went out there to do makeup and hair, and I did a lot of print modeling. Everybody knows who he is, but I didn't know at the time when I was working for him who he was. His name is Simeon Rice. He's a Hall of Famer football player, and I didn't know. So when I told my husband, he was like, "Who's that? You're working for him?" And I'm like, "Yeah, who is he?"
Never heard of it.
But then and he was a really nice guy, and I did makeup for one of his movies that he was producing and stuff like that. So it was really fun because to do the special effects and all that stuff. And and then I met my husband that is also from Uvalde out there. And we fell in love and came back.
So let's pause for a second.
Am I going too fast?
No, I want you to dig in on that story because that blows my mind that you, from little old Uvalde, Texas, moved to LA, meet this guy who's also from Uvalde, living in LA. Like,
went to high school with me. I was like, where did you come from?
That's so crazy. So y'all met there in LA.
Yes.
And
we started hanging out in LA. We kind of started talking on Facebook because we had each other on there. And then we decided to meet up, because we were both in LA at the same time. And we met up and we hit off and we were together all the time.
Oh, that
for a
is
few
crazy.
years there.
And then y'all moved back to Texas.
Yes.
Okay.
We stayed there he was there for about 4 or 5 years, and I was there for almost 4. So he was there before me. Yeah, I went out there and then we spent the years there. And then I wanted to move back. He probably still would have been there, but I was homesick and I missed my mom. So I was like, I got to come back. Are you coming with me? And he's like, yeah, I'm going with you.
Wow.
And then we came back and a month later he proposed and I was like, what?
Wow.
And now we have 2 beautiful babies.
Oh my goodness. So now you're in Uvalde.
Yes, ma'am.
So you came back and then you started the photography right away, or?
Yeah. So I've always loved doing photography. I'm a big hiker. I love to hike a lot. And that's what me and my husband did. We hiked a lot in like Oregon and Utah. And I always loved landscape photography. So I would always take pictures of our surroundings. And I never thought anything of it. It was just for fun and stuff. And then when I came back to Texas, Texas is beautiful, but we don't have a lot of places that have like the big rocks and stuff like that. You have to travel out of town, of course, to get that landscape. And I'm like, how can I turn this into a career? Because I loved taking photos. And I know Texas is known for like more family oriented and stuff like that. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try to actually photograph people. And so I put it out there. And of course, I had to do a bunch of free sessions and stuff like that to get out there. And it worked out. And I'm always learning all the time. I'm always looking into what can I do to make my work better or create a space where women and, men too feel comfortable with me and to do photo shoots for family and portraits and stuff. And it just took off from there. And I've been doing it for maybe 4 or 5 years now in Texas. And I've been able to travel with that. So that's been amazing too.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's nice.
Well, and one thing I love that you have is your client closet.
Yeah.
Like your wardrobe for your clients is out of this world.
Yes.
Like you have robes and 8-foot angel wings, and
I have the goth wings too.
What is
the
it?
bat
The black-
wings.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
I don't know. I'm telling you, I have these moments where I'm like, I see something online and I'm like, that would be a beautiful photo. And then I bring it and I offer it to clients because in our small town, people don't usually see that kind of stuff. And so it's different for them. And when they see it, they want the luxury, and they used to have to travel to like San Antonio or Dallas. And I want to be able to offer that too here in our small town and surrounding areas. So they can dress up and for whatever occasion.
Yeah, and feel beautiful and feel special and feel over the top and magical and
it
wonderful.
does make a difference to see my clients' faces. Like I did a boudoir session for Valentine's Day, and it was very empowering for her. She was really, really nervous in the beginning because she never did something like that. Most of my clients never do photo shoots of themselves, especially if it's like a self-love. I really like to put out there like, hey, you need to do a session for you. Because in the end, photos are all we have. Even if not for boudoir, but any kind of photos. Photos are lasting. They're heirlooms. They're great to have. I had an uncle pass away, and unfortunately, we didn't take a lot of photos of him. And when people were trying to scavenge photos for his funeral, nobody had any. Like barely blurry iPhone photos. So we kind of wish that we would have took more portraits with him and of him. So they're very important to have. And for women, I feel like they really empower them to see their true beauty at whatever stage they are at in life, and if it's like a bad stage where they're at or a good stage, health journey or whatever, they have that to go look back on and be like, oh, I made it this far. Or they can go back on it and say like, wow, I can get back to this and I am beautiful. They need to see what a photographer sees through their eyes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's very empowering. I love it. But anyways, the boudoir client, she was really she really loved this session, and you just saw her come out of her shell, and she was just in awe. I showed her like just a photo on the camera, and she's like, that's not me. And I'm like, yes, It is you. And she's like, no, that's not me. She's like, you don't know how much I needed this. And I guess she had a prior engagement with a guy that ditched her. And so this was really what she needed to build her confidence more. And I'm like, you are so beautiful. Are you crazy? Like, this was amazing. So it really helps. Photos can be they can do so much for everybody in different ways. So.
I haven't thought of it. Like, I think of these photo sessions as for the memories, like you said.
Of course, yeah.
But that level of the self-confidence, and like you said, if they can see the beauty that I see, I want to try to capture that. Like, I want to capture the beauty that they may not even see in themselves. Like, that's incredible.
And once they do, they realize, wow, like I'm capable, I'm worthy, I'm beautiful. And they walk out there with their heads held high, you know? And it's great that you can, photography can do that for people, not just capture moments for families, because that's beautiful to have. That's a main reason for photography, but to uplift people too. It's amazing. Makeup and hair and just glamming. I glammed her up and did the makeup, hair, and photos, and it was just a great turnout. And that's what I really love to do and get the reactions like that, because they make me love what I do and stay humble about it. And it's amazing.
How do you get people to get comfortable or come out of their shell? Because I would imagine that could be kind of hard sometimes. I'm super awkward, and I feel so you never were going to snap a picture of me. I like to be behind the camera. How do you get somebody like me to kind of open up and get comfortable? And do you have tricks that you use, or what do you do?
Well, I always try to put my package out there that includes makeup, just because it gives us a 30 to 45 minutes to get to know each other. So I tell them I offer makeup too, for your session. If they don't want makeup, I'll try to schedule a consult or a FaceTime call or something that will get them comfortable with me already. And then when they become comfortable with you, if you become comfortable with me, you can kind of tell the person and the energy I give off. And that seemed to help big time, because they right away get comfortable, and then they tell me a little bit about their life, and then we start talking, and then they start telling me I've always wanted to do a portrait session, but I'm super shy. And I'm like, you don't have to worry about it. I don't know if it's just the way to talk to people, or I have a very welcoming kind of energy, and it just makes them open up. And usually it gets them to do a photo shoot of themselves, because I tell them, like, your kids are going to have these photos later on for their grandchildren, even if it's not like a boudoir session or a self-love session, even portraits of a 90-year-old grandma, like these pictures. I just tell them the importance of the photos that they're taking and what they can do for you and your family and so on. And it usually does a trick.
Yeah. Well, I think that makes sense. Like you kind of just warm up by talking to them, because you do have such a welcoming personality. Like when somebody meets you, it's like, I've known you forever.
Yeah. And sometimes my energy is a little much, because I'm like, oh yes. And I right away believe in a person, and I hear like their wants and their needs and their goals. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you should, and they're just like, whoa.
Should I?
Yeah.
But I think so many people in the world maybe haven't had people in their lives that are championing them and saying, you should do that. And so to have somebody, a photographer, saying that, I see how that could help and open them up. And that makes sense. I want to talk a little bit about you doing the makeup and hair too. So you offer the full package.
Yes, ma'am, I do. I offer hair, makeup, and photos. I have like a variety of packages that I do that include all the above and outfits from my client closets, like 1 or 2 looks. Or I have packages that I base them off of the minutes. Like I have a 30, 90, 60, and 90 minute. And then the 90 and 60 have an extra package where it's all makeup, hair, and photos and wardrobe. On the mini packages, they can add on whatever they want. So there's so many options to choose from.
Wow.
Yes.
I love that.
One-stop shop.
Yeah. There's been times where I want to do photos with my family or whatever. And, I'm doing my own makeup, or it's of the kids and I don't even do my own hair and makeup. And then I accidentally jump in a shot, or not accident, but jump in a shot, and my hair and makeup's not even done.
Yes.
But I love that you do the hair and makeup. It's an option for people.
And people think that they need to go like all out for makeup for photos. I mean, if you just even apply like a small lash or, I always tell clients, like, for my people that don't wear makeup and stuff, and they're just kind of sketchy, like they don't want to do makeup, but they want to, if that makes sense. They want a natural look. I always start them off natural, and I guarantee like 100% of my clients end up going more glamorous, because I'll do real natural makeup and it looks beautiful, but I'll do a natural lash or something that just enhances them, and they'll be like, can we do a bigger lash? And I'll show them, I'll put one on one eye and one on the other, and they're like, oh my gosh, wow, because they never tried it before. And I always think, like, as moms and people that are so busy with their lives and just don't have time to do that glamorous thing, it's really nice for them once in a while to do that, it's an extra expense, but it's also like, you need to get pampered once in a while. You get lost in becoming, whatever, if you're a student, working, a mom, you just get lost in it sometimes. And sometimes it's nice to pamper yourself.
Yeah. Tell me about
and
it.
I offer it all.
Tell me about it. That's where I'm at right now, is like lost in motherhood and like figuring this out. I'm lucky if my hair is washed, and if I have on a bra, I don't know. Like, I'm lucky to be halfway put together.
Yeah. When you saw me last time, I'm always like, because usually for photo shoots, I don't like to dress up, because I roll over the ground and I get all dirty and I'm on my knees everywhere. Yeah. And my dad has always taught me, and my mom, like, first impressions are everything. Like, you need to dress up. And I'm like, yeah, but I literally rolled in spinas one time, like in thorns. Like, that hurt. I don't want to get my new clothes dirty.
You're in the background. It's not about me.
Yeah, it's not about me. I'm like, they understand. They know my work. They see my page. Like, I feel like what helps a lot too, to get people comfortable, is showing your face on your social medias and your websites and stuff. Not just being behind the camera, but also like coming on lives and engaging on your social media with people. You know what I mean? That helps.
That's a really good topic, because I feel like so I studied photography. I don't really shoot so much anymore, but I know that a lot of people who do photography like to be behind the camera, not in front of the camera, and don't like to show their face. I don't like to show my face, and I know I need to with our social media for the end. How did you get comfortable doing that? Because you make all kinds of content with you, not just the girls you're filming. It takes me
20 times, but I do it. But you see how we're from different fields. Like, you own an inn and I do photography, but we still need to show our faces to show like, hey, we need to welcome you guys here. Like, we want them to feel welcomed and know that we're cool people to come and hang out with and stuff. It took me a while, because I did lose a lot of self-confidence back then, but now I feel like what helped is I read a lot of like morning, I call them mantras. I don't know.
Affirmations?
Affirmations
Yeah.
and stuff. And that really got me out of my comfort zone and bring me out. And then I practice in the mirror sometimes. What I did was practice posing for my clients because I want to see what it looks like. And I want to be able to show them like, this is a pose. Let me show you how to do it. And I feel comfortable showing them a pose. So that way, if they feel my confidence will rub off on them and showing them. Because a lot of clients are not confident in posing. Like, well, I don't know how to pose. And I don't like this angle and I don't like this and that. And I don't want it to make it sound conceited like I stand in the mirror all day, because I don't. But right before a session, I'll do my research on posing tips and this and that, and then I'll do them and I'll be like, okay, this works. So then that helps me when I'm practicing for my client, and it helps me come out of my comfort zone. And I'm like, hey, maybe I should try getting out in front of the camera. So I started with taking self-portraits of myself before I jumped in front of the camera on live, if that makes sense. Everybody starts from somewhere, but I started with that. And then I'm like, okay, I can do this, because talking is different. Talking is different. In LA, I had to do little interviews here and there with, I did cinemas. It's called the cinema special effects makeup. And we had to do like these little commercial things. And they wanted us to be, I even got asked to be in like a show. I did it one time and I was a behind the scenes kind of girl. I was like, no, I'm never going back. But anyways, those little commercials here and there, those little recording videos, and even just like reminder videos in your phone of like, hey, I'm beautiful, I'm confident. Because sometimes like nobody's going to tell you sometimes. And sometimes you need to tell yourself like, hey, you got this. Like, and sometimes I'll record those videos and I'll play them back in my dark days and I'll hear it and I'm like, I got this, and that helps too with coming on and getting in front of the camera, because, social media is everything right now, and welcoming people. And then sometimes it's just a hit or miss. I'll get on and I'll be real nervous, but I'll just be like, okay, well, here we are now. And like you say, like, as long as you're on there, it gets more comfortable being on there. So those are the little things that help me. Morning mantra, morning affirmations, something that gets you to be calm and also like bring your confidence up, boost you for the day. I always start off with morning affirmations because that helps me. I have dark days too, bad days, good days. So I always have to start with something positive in the head, and I try to steer my mind in that way. And that helps with talking to my clients and jumping on lives and being conversational with them and stuff like that. It's hard.
You said a lot of really, really good stuff in that. The morning mantras, affirmation, like, that's huge for me, at least. And I know lots of women, lots of men, they have their things that they, read or write or listen to every single morning to kind of pump themselves up, to set the tone of the day, to claim over their lives for the year or for,
I always start my morning like that. Like, what can I do to get ahead, to try to make sure there's something on the table for the next day, And I think that has a lot to do with my dad, because he's a go-getter. He's a hustler. I feel like he can sell anybody a pencil or dirt he literally sells dirt off the ground. And I feel like that runs in me. So I'm just like constantly always trying to say, what can I do to progress or to, get to my goals that I have? So those help.
So is that where you get it from? Is your dad?
Yeah. He owns a construction company in San Antonio, and he's been in business for like 25 plus years, and it's just him running it. So he does everything and he works really, really hard. So I was raised around him, seeing that, how hard he hustles, and knowing that with doing that and staying consistent, consistency is key, and like we talked about earlier, like if you get an opportunity, take it. Even if it's a bad or good one, you're gonna learn from the bad ones, and the good ones are gonna open up another door for you. So I always try to take that into everything I go head first. Sometimes I get scared if people offer me an opportunity and I'm like, because I'm not an alone person. I don't like to be alone. And so when people are like, hey, you want to fly out here by yourself and meet me and do photo shoot, I'm just like, yes. Yeah. So I'm definitely coming out of my comfort zone this year more than I ever have in the past years. I've always wanted to do these things, and I talked about different things that goals I wanted to accomplish with my business and myself and everything like that. And I feel like this year I'm really pushing myself to do those things. you know, and that's how I met you, because I said yes to a
Crazy
little workshop.
opportunity.
Yeah, crazy
Yeah.
opportunity.
What is the craziest thing that you've ever said yes to?
I think probably flying out 6 months pregnant to Arizona, because I don't fly alone ever. I flew out to meet, you know, influencer, and we wanted to work together. So I was 6 months pregnant, and it was the heat of the time of Arizona. And I think that's the craziest thing, because like prior, I've just had a fear for being alone and not knowing what happens and stuff like that. And I didn't know the Western influencer that well to be, you know what I mean?
Had you even met her yet?
I had met her before,
Okay,
yeah. Once before when she flew down, and then months later, I was 3 months when she flew down, and then I was 6 months when we went out to Arizona. So I was like, I was having anxiety about it. But I said, you know, I need to do this because it's going to help me go. It's going to help me expand. I love my small town. I love my clients because they support me from my small town. Like, they are my biggest fans. But I also want to expand because there's billions of people in the world. You know, I can't have like a small town mentality, because the world offers so much. And then I love to travel. And if I can get paid to travel, get everything taken care of, like, I want to push that.
So she reached out to you. She wanted to work with you. You said yes. And now
we're going to host a workshop. Yeah.
Imagine if you would have said no for whatever. Oh, I'm 6 months pregnant. I can't, or I'm tired, or I don't feel comfortable traveling. What if you would have said no?
Yes.
From the first time she reached out to you?
Yes.
And like, look, it's crazy.
And I'll answer you this, like, you never know who you're going to meet. That's why I say, like, whatever way that your opportunities go, good or bad, like, you never know who you're going to meet. So like, the bad ones, you'll learn from it. But even with the bad ones, another door might open with something else or somebody else or something. Like, you just never know who you're going to meet or where it's going to take you. So it's always good to say yes to new opportunities, because it might be the cherry on top for your career. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
You know, I feel like, I don't know what it was like for you in Uvalde, but I'm from Dilley, just down the road, another small town.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think there's kind of a lot of times in small towns, you have that small town mentality, that closed mentality, and you say no a lot more than you say yes. Oh no, I don't like that. Or, oh no, I don't want to do that. And usually it's just because you're unfamiliar. It's not because you don't like it, but it's because you don't know. And it's the unknown, and it's the fear of the unknown. And you're living your life in the total opposite of that. Yet you're from a small town. Where do you think?
I feel like that's kind of hard too, because I do feel like 2 years ago, if you would have asked me that or any of those questions, I feel like I was comparing myself a lot to, you know, other artists around, and constantly putting myself down because I didn't feel as good enough, or, you know what I mean? So I feel like you can't have that small town mentality. Even though you live in a small town, you need to make sure you push yourself to get out of that, because there's billions of people. If you think about it, yeah, there may be 10 photographers in a small town, but how many people are in a small town? You know, how many people are in Uvalde? How many people are in Lakey? There's thousands of people. There's only a handful of photographers, artists, makeup artists, whatever field you're in. There's not everybody's doing the same thing as you. It may seem like a lot, but when I offer mini sessions, I always book up, and so do the other artists, you know? And so when I moved out, I learned that there's so many people. You're going to get work, and people are going to gravitate towards your work. If they like your work, they're going to gravitate towards you. I love community over competition. You know what I mean? So I started telling myself that, like, stop comparing yourself to other people. Don't do that. You're different. There's only one of you. You know, everybody's style is different. If anything, let's work together. Let's hang out. Let's create. Like you said, you were like, I love to create. You know, I want to create content. I want to do this and that. I'm all about that. Like, that's all I want to do.
Yeah. It takes a lot of pressure. Like, whenever you stop competing and you start collaborating, it takes a lot of pressure off. And I'm like preaching to myself here.
It takes a lot of pressure when you start believing in yourself and you understand that your business is going to go as far as you want it to go, and as far as you push it, and you say yes to those opportunities. I'm all with my hands. You, I want to tell you.
I'm like, okay, yes, I'm going to say yes. No, I think, how do you think you, like, have you always been that way of just open and saying yes? Or
No.
where did that come
like
from?
I said, 2 years ago, if you asked me this question, I was really scared, nervous. I didn't push myself that hard. I just started, I guess that came from like my little goal book. I have goals that I want to meet. And I know that, nobody's going to do that for you but you. It's just like when you're on a health journey or you're on a journey to try to create a healthier lifestyle. Nobody's going to change things for you. You can pitch it and put it out there and try to get, sympathy for it or whatever. But the change starts with you. You got to be the change. My favorite quote is, be the change you want to see, so that really hit me. And I've had a lot of things happen to me in life where I'm like, I can either let this get me down or I can rise above, so I put that in my head. And I always tell my mom, like, I'm going to rise above. Like, I'm going to do what I have these goals and I'm going to hit them. I'm going to do them. And I have to tell myself that every morning, literally, because like I said, I'm a regular person too. I have my bad days. I don't always wake up positive, but I'm trying to steer myself in the positive route to where I will have a positive day and try to be productive, make sure I'm productive in the day. And that really helps.
What is your goal book? Is it just like a notebook?
Yeah, it's just like a notebook. It's even sometimes notes in my phone and reminders, you know what I mean? So I usually like to write things down. I'm not like very computer savvy, so I'll write stuff down and put like, okay, even little quotes that are my favorite, I'll write them down. And I'll have a goal book like, okay, 2020, like I really have a goal book this year. Last year I didn't do so much. I wrote little goals down. I didn't meet them. Well, I met some of them because I wanted to offer like more mini sessions, and I met what I wanted to do. And I get so nervous. Even though I've been doing this for years, I get so nervous before a session. Even every session, I get so nervous. And then my mom's like, why are you so nervous? You've been doing this for years now. You should be perfect at it. And I'm like, there's always Mom, there's always learning and growing to do here, And what if I have a client that does not like my photos? Like, that's the nervous part. So yeah, I just feel like I have that little journal and I look at it daily because it's in my little schedule book. It's in the back of there. And I'm like, okay, this month we met this goal. This month, every month is a goal. And I guess it started with my health journey. Every week I had a goal and every week I would try to meet it. And then that turned into my career path and everything like that. And so it's so long, I keep trying to push for whatever I have planned.
Yeah. When you were talking about getting nervous, I remember I used to do theater, and I remember this man that I really looked up to who also did theater. He said that for him, the day that he stopped getting nervous before a performance was the day that he didn't care anymore. He said, if you get nervous, it means that you still care and you still love it because you're nervous because you care about it.
So much.
You care about what you're doing.
I feel like I put so much passion into, you saw me hauling those couches down here in those 8-foot wings. Like, I would do anything. Even for a client that cannot pay for a session, I would still treat, if it's a giveaway winner, I still treat it as a client that's paying my top dollar session. Like, I will always treat somebody the same. I'm always going to stay humble no matter what. But I am passionate, very passionate. So yeah, I guess you're right. Get nervous because you care so much.
Yeah, you showed up to our property with your truck full of furniture, clothes. You had like 10 different fluffy, colorful robes, a couch, 8-foot angel wings. I don't even know, a heart-shaped swimming pool. You came with like everything.
It's like, how did you fit that in there? I'm kidding.
I don't know. I'm surprised you didn't have a U-Haul.
I know. I need one. I need one. I'm gonna bring my cattle trailer next time.
Yeah. But yeah. Oh, okay. Let's talk about the cattle trailer.
Okay.
So I remember that post you did. You were doing the Valentine's minis, and you were like, I don't have a studio, and I was frustrated that I don't have a studio. So I'm just going to turn this cattle trailer into a makeshift studio for my Valentine's portraits.
Yeah.
So you did that.
Yes. I know. I contemplated about it because I know that Texas is big for like cattle ranching and ranchers and stuff like that. So when I did the Christmas horse trailer minis or cattle trailer minis, it took off. They loved it, right? So I wanted to do that for Valentine's. I did not want to do that for Valentine's Day. I had these setups for Valentine's Day, but they required a studio. I think I sent you the pictures, and I was like, I don't have a studio. And so when I was like, well, I wanted to use the horse trailer, but I didn't want to see the horse trailer because I already used it for Christmas minis. And I was looking at it. I literally stood in front of it and I was looking at it for like, I want to say an hour. And then I thought to myself like, oh, wait, I don't have to capture the whole trailer. I can just put it in there because it's like a little opening. It has a cover. So if it rains or not, I can use it and push it in there. And I can zoom my lens in just to capture like if I was in a studio. And so I was like, well, let's see how this works out. And it worked out perfect. And the lighting was perfect because it was hitting all different angles. So that's it. That just goes to show you, like, you just gotta make it happen.
Work with what you have, you know, and like you have an idea, but you don't let any kind of limitation hold you back. Like you don't have a studio right now.
There's
you
a will,
will.
there's a way.
Yeah. Like I have no doubt you're going to have a studio because it's in your head and you want it, but you don't right now.
Yes.
And you still made the shoot happen. You had your vision come to life. And I love that attitude because that is going to help. I mean, in everything that you do, to have that kind of like make it happen attitude is incredible.
For sure.
So.
Yeah, I've had my ins and outs. Like I put up a setup one time outside, and that's why I learned, because I put it up and I hung up the backdrop and the wind blew it down about 5 times. And I'm like, what is going on? So then I put up against the wall, but the sun hit it direct, you know, and I always like to have the sun behind my client. So I'm like, this is not working out for me. So I learned from that and I knew I didn't want to do that again. So then I just looked at the cattle trailer and I was like, all right, we're doing this.
It's going to work. And it worked.
Yes, ma'am.
So I know earlier had mentioned one of the things in your goal book was doing a workshop.
Yes. And we are now.
And you are. Can you talk about the workshop?
Yes. So we are having a workshop, me and Kirsten. She's simply Kirsten on social media. She's a Western influencer. She works with a bunch of different brands and stuff. And so we got together because she models for me and she gets a lot of inquiries about modeling tips and stuff. And me offering hair, makeup, and photos, I get a lot of I actually get messages daily of like, how do you do this? How do you do that? And stuff like that. And I send messages out. I send little like pages that I've saved in my past career and I'll send them out. But I feel like coming and having like one-on-ones with me and actually I always tell people, you have to go see a way a person works to really learn. And because that's how I learned. And like shadowing, you know, like come every time a local or aspiring photographer locally wants to come and take photos, I tell them, come shadow me so you can see exactly how I do things. And she learned from it and she's doing it too. So I wanted to offer a workshop for models and photographers to come out, and we're going to be in Nashville, Tennessee.
Hey.
Come out and we're going to have a bunch of content styled shoots set up like the way I did here with the pool, throw all those things in there. I mean, of course I can't fly everything down, but I'm going to find vendors to work with and stuff like that. So that way we can do that. But yeah, it's May 27th through May 30th. It's going to be at the Pink Cowgirl. They have a really cute Airbnb. So I've always dreamed of doing a workshop. When I was 2 years into doing photography, I've dreamed that I wanted to do workshops. I attended maybe like 2 or 3 of them. And I loved, and I learned from both of them. And I'm like, I can do this. I can teach this. You know what I mean? So now I said, I'm doing it 2023. And so now here we go. We're going to do it.
It's so incredible that now like it's happening.
Yes.
And what I love about this workshop that y'all are doing is that you know, are on the photographer side of things and Kirsten is on the model side of things. Because we had somebody host a photography workshop here and she just had some volunteer models and she was focused on the photographers, but it wasn't for photographers and models. So I think that's really, really cool that y'all are doing it that way.
Yeah, so the photographers won't only get, because I've attended to where it's just photographers and we have 2 models and we shot the 2 models just those looks. And yeah, we got a lot of content, but it was constantly their face. So on our social media, it was just their face on our social media, you know? So being able to bring 5 different models, the photographers we're going to have setups and stuff. We're going to shoot different places all over Nashville. We're going to get city vibes, different kind of retro and stuff like that. But they'll have so much content of different people, not just... And then I'm going to be taking their headshots. So they'll get their business headshots too. They're going to get a lot of stuff.
And hair and makeup? You're doing hair and makeup?
No. I'm going to tell them like, hey, I wanted to teach them like a basic eye. Like, hey, because sometimes we have clients that show up and they just don't bring anything, but they don't want makeup. And if you want to offer, if you show them like a little quick 5-minute eye, apply a lash to them. That makes a huge difference. And they're going to see that. And those little things, yeah, you may do it for free then, but it's going to help you in the long run, because then they're going to see like, wow, those lashes made me feel so great. You know, I want to do my brows now and I want to get my makeup done now because I felt beautiful and I know, you know what I mean? So it pushes it further. So what I'm telling you here, I want to teach them there too. Like, hey, just do this. tell them to look down pile of lashes, and it makes a big difference for their photos. I have so much knowledge to give. I just like, it's pounding in my head. I need to get that out.
Yeah, it's all in there.
I want to teach you, like, let me help you.
Yeah. Well, it's all in there. And, you've been helping people for free. So it'll be great to really, really help people one-on-one and to get paid for it. Because you've worked a long time to build up that knowledge that you have. So.
Nights and countless hours of watching videos and attending workshops. Like, I've invested into my knowledge too. And you have to every once in a while. And, you're going to pay for photography school and college and stuff. But I honestly feel like, I watched videos about photography classes and stuff, and I feel like workshops have helped me a lot more than classes have. So I definitely recommend going to workshops, even if it's not with me, with anybody, and whatever field you're in, because I see there's workshops for everything these days.
Yeah.
So like how to create a business, how to do floral,
everything,
how to do a garden.
Yeah. I need to go to some of those because my garden's looking a little rough right now.
I'm saying you need to host one. It's off season.
It's winter.
It's winter. Yes.
So y'all have already filled up 2 of the model spots, right?
And
so we just announced.
Yeah, we just announced maybe like 2 days ago. We filled up 2 model spots the first day.
Wow.
And we have about 6 to 8 contracts out right now.
Okay.
I'm not just sending contracts out like crazy, but if they're not responding within a certain time, I'll give the opportunity to another person and be like, okay, well, here's a contract, read it over. I don't push it like, here you go. I just said, here's a contract, read it over. And if it's something that you're interested in and you would like to book, sign, and I'll send you over an invoice. And then after that, I'm going to add them all into a group message, and then we'll talk about what's going to mood boards and stuff like that, the way we did that. Yeah. Let them know who's flying and who's driving in, and make sure everybody gets acquainted before.
Make a plan.
Yes,
have a plan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because when you have all those moving pieces, it's nice to have a good, clear plan. We were talking earlier about the craziest thing that you've ever said yes to, and that was your shoot with Kirsten flying up there.
At 6 months pregnant.
At 6 months pregnant.
In 109-degree weather.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. It was so hot. I thought I was going to die.
But what is, and it may be the same answer, what is your favorite session that you've ever done? Like the most creative, just you
creative or favorite? Because there's a difference.
Okay. I want both. So let's start with favorite and then we'll go to creative.
Okay. So I actually think that one of my most favorite session is this couple that was celebrating their 60-year anniversary, and the husband had dementia, and he was just kind of going like downhill from there, and she wanted to book a session with her husband. So they have a farm, they do cotton farming and stuff, and so I went out there and I shot them, and I show up, and she's there. She's so welcoming, and she's like, this is, so-and-so. And they were just both so inviting. And he was kind of in the stage where he was remembering her back in when they first began. So he was grabbing her butt and hugging her in the session, and he was growling at her. And they were the cutest thing, because they were like, I believe they're 60 years married. So they're in their 80s, I believe, or 70, 80s. Yeah, they're older couple, and it made the cutest session ever. And I just fell in love. I spent 2 hours. I was supposed to be there for an hour, and I just spent 2 hours there talking stories with them. And that was probably one of my favorite sessions, because when I got the photos and I looked at them, I literally cried, because I'm like, they've been married 60 years, And our generation right now, marriage is just not the same anymore, and people just get married to get divorced. You know what I mean? So I feel like seeing that love in my camera, and I was just crying. I'm a big baby. I'm a Cancer. I cry all the time. So that was one of my favorite sessions.
Wow. Oh, that sounds
beautiful.
So beautiful.
It was so beautiful. I was like, oh my gosh. And then when they got it back, she was so excited too about it. And they're an older couple, but now their kids are going to have those photos of them and stuff. And he took pictures with all his classic cars and stuff. And it was just great. It was good. So my creative one, I think I've done a lot of creative stuff, like the wings on a horse, and Halloween is my favorite. I'm a big Halloween person, so I do a lot of cool Halloween shoots. But I think Geraldine takes the cake. I kind of really like that right now. I mean, it was simple, but it was also creative and fun and out there.
For anyone who's maybe watching or listening doesn't know what Geraldine. What are you talking about when you
Did
say?
I say it right, Geraldine? Right?
Yeah.
So Geraldine is Miranda Lambert's song, and she says in it, "You trailer park pretty, but you're never gonna be Jolene."
Geraldine.
So Leah had this idea in her head, and so did Brandy. And then I took that idea and I was like, you know what? what? We gotta turn this into a Valentine's kind of, I wanted to bring it. I always like to see what my clients' ideas are and try to bring it to life as best I can. And so I'm like, well, they sent me the pool and the hair. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go buy a heart pool and we're going to do this trailer park pretty session.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it was just so fun. And it really took off. And it was just the whole, doing that whole shoot was fun to me. And I like the colors. I love disco balls. I'm obsessed with disco balls right now. So I have a ton of them. I want them in black. I want them in all colors.
Yeah.
And so that was one of my favorites. And the second favorite is the wings on the horses and stuff like that. I think that's really cool.
That's so beautiful.
I was telling my sister, stand up on the horse. She's like, I can't get that crazy. And I'm like, she's like, these are 8-foot wings on a freaking 8-foot horse. I'm like, she's like, no. She's like, my horse is tame, but not that tame.
Yeah. Yeah. I was so excited about the Trailer Park Pretty Geraldine shoot because, our property is a quirky, funky trailer park vibe.
Yes.
And so with the photo shoot, I really wanted to play that up. And so
Yes,
with the popularity of that song right now, I thought this would be just a fun thing to do and quirky and silly and not so like serious, fabulous, but just like fun. And so Brandy came out of her tiny home with her hair set in rollers with her Coors beer and
we had actually run out of pink curlers, so that's why you see the green curlers because we're like, we have to improvise. Just take that pink one out and do the two greens.
No, I didn't even notice that. And then, and you had, one of your pink robes with the hot pink feather boa and with our rainbow tiny house. I mean, it was so fun.
But you
so
see
cute.
how like when people put their minds together, like you can really create some awesome work, some awesome images, some awesome ideas. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why when you come together with other people that have goals and dreams and visions, it really creates masterpieces.
And that's why I love to collaborate and work with other people. That's always the goal. Is like you have, your idea, I have mine. Let's put them together and let's create something that we couldn't do on our own, that we wouldn't have come up with by ourselves, but that we can do together
as a group effort.
And, so there was you and I coming together with that vision, but then Brandy as well. And she's on the front porch modeling in the outfit going, Earl, I'm going to get you, Earl.
Like bring it. That's key though, because I've done, I did this one shoot for a Halloween Fanatic too, that he wanted to be Wolverine. And he really wanted to be the whole Wolverine outfit, ordered the claws, everything down to a T. And acted out stuff. So it was like we were recording a movie because I'm like, you have to do this take over again. And he would look at the photo and he's like, no, I need to yell. I need to really scream. He's like, do you mind? And I'm like, no, you have to get into character for that photo shoot that you're going to, because it's a creative photo shoot. You want to be, I put the flames and stuff into the photo shoot and he was screaming like, and the veins pop out when you scream. Yeah. That's what he wanted. Like in Wolverine when he's down like that and he's like, and he's like, scream, you have to do that. You have to act it out to get that photo. Yeah. And so play the part.
Or like if it's a couple's photo, you have to act like you're in love with each other. That's all, goes hand in hand.
You have to act like you're in love.
Pretend like you love each other.
Most of the time you do have to pretend. It's not pretend. The husband is always shy most of the time. In my case, that I've seen couples, the husband's always shy. The woman really wants the photos and then the kids are wild. But I'm like, just do what you do and look at each other, look at your wife, talk, and I'll have them walk around first, back and forth, so that way they get comfortable. And those shots are probably like the best shots ever of them holding hands, walking that way, or looking at each other and laughing out loud. So that's why I say, like, when I used to have on my Instagram, I'll capture the posed and untamed poses because I know that there's clients that love the posed, but we also want to capture the wildly untamed poses, which is the kids going crazy and everything else.
Those are my favorite. Yes. Like, I don't want the posed. Mm-hmm. I want the raw, real, genuine, candid moments. That's what I love. Yes.
And I almost feel like I want to, because I love both. I'm a lover of all things. Like, I know like, if you knew me every day, my mind's everywhere. Like, one day I'm listening to the Used, the next day I'm listening to George, or, Johnny Cash is my favorite. So I go from all Chiodos, like, crazy. Like, I'm different vibes. So I tell them, like, everybody thinks I'm really Western, but really, truly, like, I'll come out goth the next day. Or I'll come out punk rock, and I'll come out girly girl, and then I'll be a total tomboy. So I have different moods all the time. So that's why I like the posed and unposed. Mm-hmm. So I always tell my clients, like, I'll offer both to you guys. And I almost want to make a different page because I know that my Instagram looks more of like, because I'm trying to push branding and promo and traveling and stuff. But I also feel like I want to make a page for family and just the storytelling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Have it separate.
Smart.
But I'm not sure that I want to do, I have to figure that out because see how that works. But I feel like they're total separate things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Storytelling and brand working, because brand working is posing and showing off the brand's, rings and whatever you're showcasing that day. So yeah, I love all.
Do it all.
Do it all.
Love it all.
Yeah.
Well, what I know that is next for you directly is your workshop. Do you have anything else in the works or that you can talk about?
I mean, besides wanting to get a studio, I don't just want a studio for myself. I actually want a studio in Uvalde where I can rent it out to other photographers, because not all photographers have a studio. So I want to be able on rainy days that they can also make their money too. They don't have to cancel and they can just rent out the, hourly rate or whatever. And I'll have like the backdrops in there already for them too.
Wow.
So I feel like that. And I also want to offer that studio for bridal parties where they can come and get ready. They don't even have to, this is where I speak community over competition, because they don't have to book me for photos. They don't have to book me for makeup and hair for them to use my space, for that studio. I want them to be able to go in there. If they have their own hair making artists, great, bring them. I want to host like painting parties and fun ladies' nights, because there's not a lot to do in Uvalde and our surrounding areas in these small towns. You got to drive an hour and a half to San Antonio, and not everybody has that time because maybe a mom has 5 kids or something, or she has work the next day in Uvalde. I want her to be able to have fun the night before in the studio doing like booty paintings or something fun, creative something. But I want to offer classes like that. Or a lot of elderly people ask me to do one-on-one makeup, so I can offer makeup classes. And I just feel like those are some goals too that I want to do with that studio. Sky's the limit.
Sounds a lot like a lot of fun.
There's not a space like that exists in Uvalde, so you have to create it.
I'm going to. Goals, plans, one at a time.
Yeah,
one at a time. Well, I got to tell everybody that they have to come to the In-Between and meet Leah and Jake, because y'all are awesome. Y'all's place is awesome. The family y'all have is great. It's such a welcoming environment. I feel like everybody needs to come out to the In-Between for sure and stay out here, because everything they all have here, the cottages, it's perfect for photographers. So if you're a photographer, they need to come out too. You gotta need to push that. Because it's a beautiful place out here.
If we had guests that wanted to do family portraits while they were here, like on the river, is that something they could hire you to do? Like you would come up here and you would shoot their family session
I'm only
or something?
20 minutes away. So I love Konkan. It's such a relieving drive for me. You're doing me the favor by giving me a little space from the kids to come out and drive out here and relax and turn my music up loud. I was jamming out right now. I was like, okay, I don't have the kids.
Yes. What were you listening to? Johnny Cash or The Used?
No, I was listening to, I think it was, what is it? The old, I'm outside of your window with Hawthorne Heights.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
With my radio. Yeah, I was all like, I'm outside. Singing my head off. Yeah, I'm one of those. So I was jamming out.
Well, thank you so much for, first of all, saying yes to come and do the photo shoots here, saying yes to our podcast and being here. And I hope that we can create beautiful, quirky, funky, crazy photo shoots in the future.
We got to get everybody down here too, because people need to, this is a hidden gem in Konkan, really, truly hidden gem. 2 miles from the Frio, like it doesn't get much better than that.
Well, thank you.
Yes, for sure. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being on, and we hope to see you again soon.
Till next time.
Yeah. So if anyone was going to wanted to reach out to you, they would reach you at
my social medias for now. I'm working on a website, so I'll get that information out. But follow me on my social medias. That's where I post all the deals and the fun things going on, workshops and all that.
Can you tell the viewers or listeners what your social media, Instagram, Facebook handles are, and TikTok? Yes.
So TikTok is Yesenia.Bailey.photo. Facebook is Bailey Photography, and the Instagram is Yesenia.Bailey.photography. Yes. And my website will be there soon.
And I'm sure you'll be updating your socials whenever you get your website up.
Yes.
Correct. So, okay.
Perfectly.
So y'all stay tuned and follow her and check her out, hire her. She's
I'm the all-in-one, one-stop shop.
One-stop shop. She does it all. So
yes.
especially if you're going to be planning to do something in Concan.
Yeah, and if you're having an elopement, I want to do elopements this year a lot more. So if you're getting married in Concan, stand in between. I'll come down for you.
but are you also willing to travel? Like they don't have to, right? Okay,
everywhere.
They don't have to be coming to Concan. So yeah, she will be there.
Yes, sir.
So thank you again, and thank y'all for tuning in to another episode. We appreciate y'all listening or watching. And if you can, please subscribe or review our podcast. So until next time, we will see y'all. Hasta luego.
Bye.
Bye.